to keep those Marines at bay and forcing that science vessel to run away, just taking so much damage. Science vessel, oh man! Science vessel with like 10 HP left, almost dying there. So very good strategy there by Luxury, using both Lurkers and Hydras at the same. Of course, Hydras can engage Marines pretty well and kill them pretty well. And of course, with those Hydras, you can't really have that science vessel close enough to detect the Lurkers for you. Command Center now has been pretty well repaired by Hwasin. They're still a little bit damaged, but first Firebet now out, interestingly enough, for Hwasin. The Luxury taking down an expansion at the 8 o'clock position, so he's going to try to establish a third gas yet again. He has to be doing it very quickly, and he has to equalize this economic position, because he's been at an economic loss for a little while now. An SCV blocking a Lurker, that is hilarious. I believe Luxury is actually thinking of putting some Lurkers there at the behind position. Now again, Hwasin moving out with some forces probably at that 8 o'clock, going to try to get in that mining expansion. Meanwhile, a Lurker there at the back of the natural expansion of Hwasin is going to try to engage once again. Ooh, taking out quite a few, but did get taken down. Took out the 3-4 SCVs before it got taken down, and these science vessels, this hatchery is going to go down. So that Firebat there in time. Luxury moving out with some Hydras and Lurkers of his own, trying to enforce that as well as they can, but overall Hwasin doing a pretty good job taking down an expansion. Hwasin, of course, now at this point has an economic advantage. He's completely equaled out the economic position. Any disadvantage he might have had early game should have equaled out, although I think he's main could be mining out fairly soon if it's not already mined out, so he's going to need another expansion fairly soon. Try to keep this economic, this constant pressure that he's doing on Luxury. That's of course coming in mighty handy. Okay, his main is indeed mined out, so he's actually only mining off one base. Now has put down a command center to put down another location, and now has had his medic marine go completely cleaned up. We're going to see whether Science Vessel manages to run away. Science Vessel! Again, barely manages to survive with that Science Vessel 10 HP again. Jeez. Overall, just doing a pretty good job, Hwasin there, harassing, sacrificing some of his forces, mind you, but overall, to make sure that he keeps Hwasin on the back foot, it's overall a good strategy. Has no weapons too going for him, for those Grand Forces. I think he should be getting another engineering bay up, try to get some armor upgrades for his forces as well. There are no upgrades, meanwhile, for Luxury. Now he's going to engage with some Lurkers. Now he's in a pretty good position. Defensive matrix going up into one of the tanks. Lurkers trying to engage, but all those tanks are going to go down. Medic Marines trying to engage as much as they can, so still some tanks out there. Some SCVs running around as well. Oh man, Sisal is being forced back by those Hydra's tanks, a bunch of them heavily damaged, all being sieged, and in the battle location, some more Marines running in, but those Hydras doing a pretty good job cleaning up all the tanks. Lurkers all get cleaned up thanks to those Sisals and Marines, but overall some Hydras still alive and gonna push Hwasin back into his main base. He has taken an expansion at this location here. That's the 10 o'clock. Oh, that's fairly vulnerable. He has almost no defenses there. Gonna have to move some force towards that location to try to defend as well as he can. Some random SCV. Oh man, SCV is gonna get caught in transit! Hwasin! What are you doing? Oh man. Apparently that command center was floated up to make sure it survives and doesn't get engaged, and the SCV is being caught in transit. Actually, not as many taken out as there should have been, but overall we're gonna see some SCV running out with a couple of ground forces there. Gonna see what kind of damages. Oh man, they're just gonna get completely engaged and completely slaughtered here. Plenty of Hydra-risks. Very Hydra heavy builds for Luxury here. You don't really see that many TVZ which have such Hydra heavy builds, and especially since Luxury doesn't have any ground upgrades, it doesn't have any evolution chambers up yet for him. Of course, with the lack of a third base and a third gas, he might be thinking that, you know, he needs to get some troops out there rather than get upgrades. Now we're going to see the first person view of Luxury here. See, okay, he's going to try to get re-established at 8 o'clock. You're going to have to defend it this time because he has one evolution chamber. We're going to see what the upgrades with that. He's definitely not going to be able to afford it anymore, at least for a while now. Overall, doing a pretty good job of trying to equalize. This is a pretty equal game economically. I'm not sure whether Luxury has mined out his main yet or not, but Hwasin is still mining away at one base. Now trying to take down that 10 o'clock again. Luxury in position to make sure that gets taken out. Now the first person move, Hwasin here. We're going to see he has 3 science vessels flying around. He's not going to be able to save that base. I think he had a tank there engaging. Now moving out with a medic marine force as well as some science vessels. Irradiating some Lurkers and just trying to engage as well as he can. Going to try to clear any containment that he has on. Well, he has to be very careful and save that 10 o'clock position. Not sure if he lost. I think he might have actually lost the command center to those Hydras. And overall, he's a pretty bad economic position, I believe, for both players. Actually, just such heavy economic damage done to both players at this point. +2 carapace now up for those Hydras for Luxury, so he's finally has some proper upgrades going. So this is pretty much equaled out at this point with weapon upgrades for the Marines. Luxury has now set up that position. Now those Hydras enough. Oh man, science vessel flying right into the Hydras. What the heck is that? Losing 2 or 3 science vessels. Hwasin, what are you doing? No boy. I'm not favoring Hwasin, I'm just saying they should have done a little bit better than that. Pretty bad mistake for him there, moving out in a pretty bad position, getting engaged surprisingly by those Hydralisks and losing a bunch of science vessels. Some Lurkers and Hydras now in position to defend that 8 o'clock base, so I definitely don't think it's going to be harassed again by Hwasin. Hwasin has floated away his command center. Oh man, he's floated away his main command center just so he doesn't have to rebuild it. That's actually pretty smart. So he doesn't have to rebuild the command center, use those minerals for more marines and medics. And get another engagement of Lurkers here in Hydra. Sends him a Scourge. One Scourge going to hit that sign, so it's instantly going to force Hwasin to back off a little bit. Some Hydras, such a large number of Hydras, all getting engaged with medic marines. Medic marines is going to get needled to hell by those spines. Some Zerglings there as well, man. Just good positioning overall by Luxury there. He's not going up too high. He's just using a bunch of Hydras and using them as Lurkers as well. Just making sure to keep those science vessel counts very low just by using the Hydras. That's of course a very good job there. Hydra is actually a very good build against a mech build, biomech, or bio build, or whatever you want to call it. There are tanks and science vessels, so the biomech, sort of, kind of, possibly, a little bit. Oh man, it's an exciting game, back and forth. Luxury again thinking of moving in, has plenty of forces, lots of Hydras. There's at least several control groups, some Zerglings to support as well, act as meat, as, you know, fodder, and has some Lurkers on the ground as well. Just be very careful. Just overall, it's very good how he has like a very large Hydralisk army and supports those with a few Lurkers, so he can flank with those. Some Zergling there on the ground to spot. Tank is not going to be in position of being. Meanwhile, a sunken colony be put down to the 8 o'clock because he's definitely fearing for that position. He has to keep it going. He has to have 3 gases. His main is almost mined out for Luxury. He's doesn't have a lot of mining there, so he's just now started mining from a 3rd base with his main almost mined out. He has to keep that going for him. So both players actually forced not to use too many troops, not to use that much economy. I mean, we're probably having like 2 starports and like a crap load of science vessels out for Hwasin if he could afford it, but he just can't. Lots of Scourge now flying around trying to expect those science vessels, and of course those Hydras there. Hwasin has to be very careful to keep the rest of the science vessels alive. He has to get a critical mass of science vessels, because if he can do that, then be able to radiate everything to hell. And I don't know if there's Hive Tech or not from Luxury. I don't think he would be able to afford it, because I think if he had a Hive Tech, he'd definitely invest at least a little bit of minerals and gas into some forces. Oh, and a radiate going off on the Hydras and killing a few forces around it. But yeah, he's Luxury. If he had a Hive Tech, he would definitely at least get a Defiler to help him with that. Oh, he actually does have Hive. No, actually, no, he doesn't. He still has a lair. He has a Queen's Nest going for him. I'm going to see whether he uses some Queens or not. Plenty of science vessels. Oh, all the Scourge being killed pretty well there. But now Luxury moving in with those Hydralisks. Hwasin, okay, Luxury now pushing back as soon as he saw the defensive posture there. Meanwhile, an SCV running around scouting for Hwasin, scouting that 8 o'clock base. 2 mining bases now for Luxury. His natural almost mined out as well. Hwasin now with 2 mining bases. I'm not sure how his own natural is doing, but I know that 10 o'clock base is in pretty decent shape. Those tanks upstairs firing downward as well as they can, going to be engaged by some Lurkers. Hydras moving into position, trying to engage as well as they can. Some science vessels flying around as well. Tanks overall in a very good positions on those ridges, although of course Lurkers and Hydras of course can attack those upstairs, so tanks still can be engaged. They'll get a radiate going off on one of Hydras. Oh, Luxury! Oh man, killing one of his own Hydralisks just to make sure it doesn't irradiate. There's the 9 kills for that siege tank. Meanwhile, a nice one there. Oh, that was brilliant. Just die for the cause. Oh man, it was like a commissar coming out and shooting.